students. Today we will discuss about the data independence. Now what exactly the data independence? The ability to modify a schema definition in one level without affecting a schema definition in higher level is called data independence. Now what exactly the meaning of data independence? When we are saying the schema, what exactly the meaning of schema? Schema we have discussed in earlier videos also, that is the logical data structure of the database. What is the meaning of logical data structure? Whenever we are saying suppose employee ID, employee name, then the salary, all these are the basically characteristics of the employee, and when we are saying these are interrelated and associated one particular name, that is entity, it becomes a schema as it doesn't hold the contents of that particular entity, or we can say the data of that particular entity. When we say there is a data, it becomes the instance of that particular database, right? We are saying here there are the two kinds of data independence. One is logical data independence, other is physical data independence. Now what exactly is logical data independence and physical data independence? To understand that, we have to learn about the three-level architecture of the DBMS. As we know, in the case of three-level architecture of DBMS, the external level of the database, external level of the DBMS we can say as the user's view of the DBMS, where we have the different users, different views of the database. Now in the case of different views of the database, each user having its own perspective, each user want to retrieve the data according to his requirement. For example, if we have the case of employees database, now in the case of employees database, employees are working in different departments. When we are saying the employees are working in the different department, it means they are accessing, their role are different, their functioning are different, and the manager of the department wants to retrieve the data according to his requirement. Now here we have the conceptual schema. As I have told you, the schema is the logical structure of the database. Now where conceptual schema means logical database design, where we have the set of entities, attributes and constraints and their relationship. When we say the all these are existing, it means we apply the all structured definition of a particular language, जिसे we will say the DDL. DDL means data definition language. So at this stage the data definition language is described. It means we want to create the database, we want to modify the database, or we want to drop the particular database. All these are performed at this particular level. It means if any user wants to retrieve the information from this particular database from the internal level, it has to retrieve based on the concept of logical design, and from the logical design it is retrieving the data at the user level. All these are interconnected. Now last one is internal schema, which is at the physical schema, which is related with the physical data organization, how data has been organized. Now why we are concerned with all these three schemas in the case of data independence? Logical data independence. When we are saying the ability to modify the conceptual schema without causing application programs to be written, it means we are not modifying any application program at the conceptual level when we are accessing the information from the external database. There is a relationship between the external level and the conceptual level. It means whenever we are doing any modification at conceptual level, it means we are adding some more entities, we are adding some more attributes, or we are modifying the size of attribute, or we are dropping or we are removing any attribute. These are the basically data definition commands which we can perform at the conceptual level. So if we are doing any operation, any modification or alteration at conceptual level and it is not affecting the external level, this is basically called logical data independence, right? So the change would be absorbed by the mapping between the external and the conceptual. As I told you, there is a mapping and independence between the external and internal level. The changes whatever they have made at the conceptual level, it has been absorbed by the external level. It means that if we have done any modification to add particular attribute, it is not affecting the end user. Suppose let's take the example of railway reservation system. In the case of railway reservation system, we as end user we are simply retrieving the data. We are not concerned about the how application programmer is adding or modifying any particular attribute. We are simply add the particular train number and requirement for the particular timings, whether time is scheduled on time or not, whether it is late or it is coming on time. So usually done when logical structure of the database is altered. As I told you, if we do the logical structure, which we can say the schema, if we do any modification at the schema level and it is not affecting our external level, it is called logical data independence. Now the next one is physical data independence. What exactly the meaning of physical data independence? Physical means lower level. Lower level, as I told you, lower level we have the internal schema, and at the internal schema we have the various file organization, various searching techniques or various access methods. Now suppose the database administrator trying to modify any encryption technique or any searching technique from hashing technique to B plus tree. Now whether it is affecting the conceptual design? No, it is not affecting the conceptual design. So in this way we can say the modification at this level are usually to improve the performance. So the ability to modify the internal schema without having to change the conceptual or external schema is called the physical data independence. We are doing the modification for the encryption technique, we are doing the modification for the accessing technique, we are doing a modification for the data compression technique, but it is not affecting our conceptual design. We are not doing any modification at conceptual level or at our schema. That is called the physical data independence. So this is related with the data independence. Now we will discuss the different database users. What are the basically database users? As number of times I use the term end users, sometimes application programmers or database administrators. These are the basically different type of users which may be categorized in the database management system, because each level of database users have their own restrictions, own control access to access that particular database. As the bank customer, I have only right to access the account from the my side. I can access only my account. I cannot access the other customer's account. This is the restrictions on the my database as end users. So those who actually use the control and database contents and those who design, develop and maintain database application, these are basically the actors of the database. who design the database, who control the database, who access the database. We can say these are the actors of the database, or we can say these are the users of the database. We can categorize these users in different categories. If we consider the database administrator is having the major responsibility to manage the database. First one is responsible for authorized access. Now what is the term authorized access? Authorized access means no unauthorized person who is not the legitimate user to access that particular database, he or she should not be able to access that particular database. There may be some confidential information, there may be some information which not to be accessible by the all users, that can be controlled with the help of the restrictions on the database. It means we have the read write access permissions. So it means some users may have only the access permissions, some users may have the update of permissions also. So whenever user is having the update permission also, these are the different type of users. Whenever you are having the user is having only the access permissions, normally we say these are the name users or the end users. Next one is responsibility of the database administrator is for coordinating and monitoring its use. It is the responsibility of the database administrator to monitor regularly and update the database regularly for the recovery and backup procedure. Meanwhile, the database administrator responsibility is also to check out whether the hardware resources are properly managed or not, whether the optimal utilization of storage has been done or not. Apart from that, it is the responsibility of the database administrator to monitor the efficiency of the operation, how these operations are efficiently performed, how transaction is optimally executed. It is the responsibility of the administrator to check and verify quarterly, or we can say at the time to time. So monitoring is important. One of the important aspect, that is security. Security is the special feature as the database administrator has to apply the encryption or decryption technique, and it has to be looked at which is the more secure algorithm to be applied to secure our database from the unauthorized access. Next type of users we can see as the database designers. The responsibility to define the content, the structure and the constraints and functions or transactions against the database. So these are the basically database designer. And when we say the database designer, it is the responsibility at the conceptual level. At the conceptual level, the database designer has to identify, and by analyzing the requirement of the project or the application development, what kind of entities are required, what kind of properties we require related to that particular entity, so that we can filter the right information, so that our data should not be redundant. So they must communicate with end user and understand their needs. It means it is the responsibility of the database designer he fulfill the need of the end user, and end user can meet their requirement to retrieve the information from the database. Last category, that is the end users. In the end users, we can categorize the two type of users, casual users and the naive users. They use the data for queries, reports, and some of them update the database contents. End users may be categorized in two forms, that is casual and naive. And K, we can see the access database occasionally when the data is needed, like the managers. Managers doesn't require to retrieve the data every day. They require the weekly report or monthly report and occasionally. And CEOs normally month-wise or maybe quarterly. They are not accessing the database very frequently. Naive or parametric, they make up a large section of the end user population. They use previously well-defined function in the form of in transaction. For example, the bank teller or reservation clerks who do this activity for the entire shift of operations. Normally, the reservation clerks reserve the berths for the customers on the regular basis, and they do their operations in the shift wise. Suppose they have the 9 to 6 shift, then again other clerk is having the shift from the 7 to evening late night 12. So in that case they shift wise perform the operations on the database. So they are regular to access the database but during the shift wise. Next is sophisticated database users. They include business analysts, they use engineers and other thoroughly familiar with the system capabilities. It means end user is not having the idea about the database and the clerks is also not having the idea about the database. So end users are the category like clerks. But the sophisticated users are having the background knowledge of the database. They know how the database can be maintained, can be accessed and how data can be retrieved. Normally business analysts are having the idea of all these. So many use tools in the form of software package. They work closely with the stored database. So they perform with the help of certain tools also to retrieve the data from the database. So they are the basically sophisticated because they have the background. They are white collars also. Stand alone. Stand alone. I have my own database. I am the only user. I am the database administrator also. I am the end user also, and I am accessing the database for my own purpose. So mostly maintain personal database using ready to use. Suppose I am maintaining my database for managing my all medicines at the store. So it is my own personal database and I am just painting the database just to make the record of all medicines have been sold today or in a month, and finally I am getting the information and retrieving the balance sheet ki how many records are maintained for their particular selling or purchasing. Another example is the address book. So these are the basically various categories of end users which we have discussed today. Includes the database administrator who is having the major responsibility, who is having the whole sole control over the database, and the second category which have been used normally, that is the end user who frequently access the database using the ad hoc query, and the third category which normally common, that is the sophisticated user. So these are the basically concept behind the categories of users. So today we have discussed about the data independence and the database users, or we can see the data actors. Thank you.